Hey guys, welcome back to another MadCast. Today we're gonna be going through some more solo talk. Just you and me today again once more. I I will not tell you if I'm having a guest. I'll leave that as a surprise for each weekly episode that comes out. I'll leave that for you to figure out by clicking down on the videos, and please don't forget to subscribe, of course. Share, like, always put a comment. I'll always respond to you. I'm interested in your thoughts. Today's gonna be a pretty interesting topic, something I believe many people who might be listening to might be affected by it in some ways. But as I'm getting started, if you want, pause the video right now, get yourself a snack, find a comfy space, and put your headphones on and listen to what I have to say, because it's gonna be a very nice ride today. And let's begin. So today I wanted to talk about cigarettes, smoking, that type of stuff, and drinking alcohol, and my perspective on it, of course, and based on some of the research I've been doing. I believe, well, let's start off easy for people who don't really know much about it. So nowadays there's like these e-cigarettes. So it's a device that allows you to inhale nicotine in a vapor form rather than like smoking like the old days. And so the difference between the two, by definition, is that smoke is a visible suspension of carbon or other particles in the air, which is typically one that is emitted from burning a substance. I can't speak. Yes, so you basically burn a substance and then there's like this chemical release. So that's the idea for smoking. Whereas for vaporized substances, it's a substance diffused or suspended in air. So especially one normal liquid or solid, So the main idea is that e-cigarettes don't burn tobacco and don't produce tar or carbon monoxide. And for you smokers out there, whether you're doing smoking or using e-cigarettes, like using normal cigarettes versus e-cigarettes, the tar and carbon monoxide are extremely, like, they're extremely bad for your health. They're like damaging elements. These chemicals, they're extremely toxic. But like, okay, with the research, with all that, it's been shown that e-cigarettes are, well, firstly, e-cigarettes, let's just recognize that it's mainly vapes and stuff, like pods or whatever these stuff are called. And nowadays they're saying, research shows that they're much safer than like smoking and stuff like that. So people are like into it. They actually go for it. They're like, it's actually advised that you vape or use a pod or whatever they call it instead of smoking. The thing is, in like vaping, for example, there is nicotine. There's something also called, and I apologize for the mispronunciation, so it's nicotine, propylene glycol, and or vegetable glycerine and flavoring. So basically, if you don't know what any of that means, neither do I, other than nicotine, of course. Like, it's just saying there's a substance mixed in, and then there's like, you know how you eat candy, there's like the actual hard gelatin, and then like the food coloring, the flavors, that type. It's basically saying that, but all of this is in liquid form, which is a big distinction from smoking, because when you smoke, there's there's literally smoke coming out of your cigarette, whereas when you're vaping, it's just it vaporizes in the air, you know. So which is a good thing in many ways, but not entirely. And that's kind of what I want to get into, you know, the good and the bad. Mainly the bad, because when it comes to smoking, vaping, and all that, there isn't much good in it, you know. So, yes, vapes are less dangerous to our lungs compared to like smoking old school cigarettes, but vaping is still an issue. It's like I said, it's highly recommended to vape instead of smoking. Of course, not only does smoking affect your body, but it also affects the people around you. You need to be aware of that. So you're not the only one who's affected. Not even those people who are getting secondhand smoking, but also the environment causing pollution. Like, for those people who are still smoking cigarettes, consider these three factors. You're affecting your body, you're affecting other people's bodies, and you're affecting the environment, which basically is affecting people, but not even just people, like the atmosphere, with the ozone, breaking the ozone layers and stuff like that. I'm not too, like, look, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm not too familiar with the ozone and stuff, but I know that pollution is extremely affecting how our ozone, the layer that's protecting us from not radiation, I forgot what it was called. It's this thing that's coming from space that would essentially kill us, you know. So the ozone, which is O3, I believe, on O1, which is the monoxide that I mentioned. O2 is oxygen as we know it, and ozone is O3. If you were interested in that fact, you know, chemistry. Ooh, no, I'm mentioning with you. But yeah, like, even though vapes are safer than smoking, they're still not risk free, like, of harming your body, you know. Again, e-cigarettes do not produce tar or carbon monoxide, which are two of the most harmful elements in tobacco smoke, but the liquid in the vapor is, like, the chemicals are potentially harmful to you. And you know that the nicotine in the vapes, the pods, and things like that are highly addictive. Like, if you go online and literally go on Google right now and, like, search the most addictive drug, the most addictive this or that, you know, you're gonna see nicotine's up there, if not number one, if it's not in the number one position. It is so addictive. Okay, I don't know how addictive. I've believe it or not, I've never consumed things like that, you know. I always avoid, alcohol I don't drink because I'm religious, and my religion is against it. I'm against it because it affects, but we'll get into alcohol later, you know. And I don't smoke. Smoking is allowed in my religion, but I still don't smoke. I'm fully against it. I'm like, if I were to protest for or against smoking of any sort, electronic, old school, whatever, I go against without a second thought. But yes, the point is, like, vaping, podding, modding, whatever these things are called, devices are called, they contain nicotine. That's like for sure. Like, we all know that. And it's one of the most addictive substances in the world, and it's dangerous. You know why? You want to know why? Because I don't think many people are aware of this. If you're aware of this, I don't think you'd continue smoking whatever thing you are smoking. So what it causes is an increase in blood pressure, increase in heart rate, increase in flow of blood to the heart, and narrowing of the arteries. So the arteries, if you don't know, or the vessels in your like body, of course, that carry your blood. And nicotine may also harden the arterial walls, which may lead to heart attack. So everything I just told you, excuse me, lead to heart attacks. Like smoking affects your lung, affects the flow of your blood, affects your heart. Like you're literally filling up your lungs, your bloodstream. Okay, before I actually continue this, I am not a doctor. I don't study medicine. I don't study. This is based on research, and like I don't want people going. Like obviously, what I'm saying right now is simple, basic stuff that's like already recognized, and I'm not saying something. I'm not making something up out of my own mind, but I'm just saying that just in case you think like I know stuff, and like no, this is just me based on research trying to explain to you if you're not aware about it, and trying to encourage you to avoid it. So yes, what I was saying, everything you do going in your lungs, smoke, like I said, the toxic chemicals going in your lungs. If you go watch these like 20-second videos on YouTube, TikTok, whatever platform that just has content, if you search up lungs before and after smoking or something like that, you're gonna see it's all black. Okay, this is only smoking, but don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. Vaping is also bad. Like everything I listed, from increased blood pressure to narrowing the arteries, these are all nicotine related too. Like nicotine does that to you, and it's obviously your decision, but if you don't know it, you better research. And if you're a smoker, you're a vapor, or using any devices, make sure to basically I'm trying to help you avoid using it, and I'm gonna get into the whys and hows and stuff like that after, but I'm just setting like a foundation. I'm saying a foundation because it's important to set a foundation. If I don't set a foundation, most of you might be confused by what I'm talking about. So for example, I'm gonna give you an example how like an increased blood pressure could essentially kill you. So for example, the overall idea of having a high blood pressure, or in other words hypertension, is that it's a common condition where the force of the blood against your artery walls is high enough to cause health problems such as heart disease. We're going back to the heart disease. Your heart is affected. You don't want to hurt your heart. You want to live long. You really do not want to hurt your heart. So the idea there is just saying that the pressure of your blood against the walls that's carrying your blood is very high, that might cause, like, okay, I don't get the specific, but this is the general idea. I don't get the specific medical terminology for it, but that's it. So you can have high blood pressure for years without any symptoms. You literally can have, you can literally be, I don't know, it doesn't even have to be smoking or any of that. You could even be eating junk food and you wouldn't feel the effects of like how it affects your heart and other organs until you're like 30s, So that's something that you need to keep in mind. You won't realize it. You might not even notice it because the effects of high blood pressure will show on a long-term basis. There you go. It will show on a long-term basis. This is why, for example, when our parents tried to feed us healthy food when we're young, yeah, you remember, your parents are like, eat this. No, you cannot have that. Eat this first, and then you can have a little bit of that afterwards. this is to help our bodies and sustain it, because when we grow up into our adulthood, it's when we're gonna start noticing problems in our body. We're not gonna notice stuff in our bodies in our 20s unless you're like severely not taking you're not taking care of yourself at any measure. If you don't like take your blood tests, you don't do checkups, you don't do any of that, and you constantly smoke, for example, and do drugs or whatever, this is not good for you. You're not gonna live a long life. You're not gonna live a happy life. Trust me, you're not gonna live a happy life. And in my opinion, this is like smoking, for example, is something that's not good for you, and I believe it should be completely eliminated from every store possible. It shouldn't even be made anymore. That's what I believe. Now people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're crazy, you're dumb, blah blah blah." Those people, they're just ignorant, I'm sorry to say it, but you're ignorant, you're stubborn, and you don't want to listen to the truth. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fairly stubborn person. I'm personally ignorant when it comes to certain things, but when it comes to my health, even okay, to be fair, I'm sometimes still stubborn, but over time I do learn how to take care of myself. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. This will be like a kind of sidebar before we continue back on the main topic. I, like, for example, used to never eat like nuts, cashews, walnuts, I don't know what else, stuff like that, I never used to really eat it. I used to eat it a few times a year. Now, not even a week ago, a few days ago, I literally started eating. Out of nowhere, I was like, why not? I'll just take a handful, put it on my plate next to my main dish, and I just ate it. I just turned on my TV show, had a snack, just threw in some walnuts, and that's it. No big deal, I started eating almonds. Why not? It's the fact that I didn't do it earlier is not good. The fact that I didn't start doing something healthy earlier on is not good. So what I'm trying to say here, and actually, you know what, I'm gonna hold off on that. I might actually get into it. I don't know, maybe, we'll see. But the idea is, I'll summarize the nicotine thing. The nicotine addiction doesn't just affect us in the long run in our hearts, for example, but it also affects our brain. Don't just think, oh, I'm just mentioning hearts, it's only the hearts. No, it's not just the heart, it's your whole body, your brain as well. Your brain is very sensitive because it's literally taking all the information of what's happening in your body and then sending it back and forth. It's receiving information, it's releasing information. And by you smoking, by you affecting, your brain is always, alarmed. So you're gonna get like mood disorders, which are common symptoms. Nicotine also affects the synapses that are formed, which can harm parts of the brain that control your attention and learning. And tell me this. Do you wanna have bad attentions? Do you wanna be unable to learn as effectively or efficiently? If you don't want to take care of yourself, you just want to die, there has to be a reason why, and we can figure that out. And you might have expected me here to say, oh, if you don't care, blah, blah, then do whatever you want. No, I'm not going to tell you that. Because I think that the reason why you're going through bad times, even worse times, is because you are still smoking, you're still drinking, you're still taking drugs, you know? If I don't know if you guys know this, if you go on YouTube, search for Roman Atwood podcasts. If you go and search that up, and then like search the one with Fusi Tube, another YouTuber, influencer, whatever you want to call it. And if you want to do that, go watch it. Watch the entire podcast. I watched it all. And if you know KSI, JJ, whatever you want to call him, go watch him. Listen to now for his case, I don't know which episodes they are, not even episodes, I don't know which videos they are specifically, because he doesn't really title them in a way. But if you go and listen to their stories about how they stopped drinking alcohol and stuff like that, you're going to see their lives have been so much better. Now I'm swaying a bit towards drinking alcohol, but don't get me wrong, this still applies to drugs and smoking and stuff. So, first of all, for you alcoholics there, you don't want to call yourself alcoholics. Okay, once in a few drops, a few drinks of alcohol drinks a day, whatever you want. I don't know. But are you happy with yourself? Are you happy that you're drinking? Are you happy that you're harming your body? Are you happy that you're letting your brain go loose? Are you happy with waking up next morning feeling bad, feeling sick, feeling like in the worst pain ever? Are you bad? You don't feel bad that you wake up not knowing what happened the day before? If you're okay with that, then you seriously need to get help, because that's just, I don't know if what I'm saying is true, but I would assume this is a form of dissociation. And obviously dissociation is a mechanism in your brain that when you come across like stressful stuff, it will try and make it less stressful by making you blank out in a way, you know? Like, I'll give you an example before I continue. So, let's say you're in a car. You're like, mom or dad is taking you to school, or you're going on a long road trip or whatever, and you're looking at the window, and then you suddenly actually look back at the window. You're like, whoa, how did I get here? That was fast. Whoa, no way. It's that moment, that gap between the last time you remember and the time where you got to your school, is when your brain's like not shut down, but there's a mechanism, there's a system where it helps reduce stress, or even avoid or block it, and you won't remember it. That's basically it. But going back to the actual discussion of drinking alcohol, like, if you listen to people's stories of drinking alcohol, what they did, how they felt, and all of that, like, you'd actually understand why people, like, when they say don't do this, don't do it. When they say I've gone through this, you shouldn't do this, don't do that, listen. Don't just ignore. Don't go and drink your alcohol. Yeah, don't. If you have an issue, drinking is not the way. You think us Islams, for example, because I'm a Muslim, you know, and you think we drink. No, we don't drink. We don't. It's a sin if we drink. We don't drink. We're against drinking, and we avoid drinking on all costs, no matter what. How have we turned out to be? Are we bad people? Are we crazy people roaming around the streets and doing crazy stuff out of nowhere just because they're drinking? Okay, first of all, don't get me wrong. There are still people who are religious and still drink, and they're just breaking the laws and sinning. But that's a different story. But the idea is, we don't drink. We solve our issues in better ways. And I've actually had this discussion of taking drugs, smoking, drinking with someone about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Yes, I've had this discussion before. And what they told me is that they had this friend, and they're like very stressed. Their parents don't help him out, and he can't afford to go to therapy. So the only thing he can do is go drink. Is that really the only option you have? Is that really the only option? Because I could tell you a few, maybe one or two, on top of my head. First of all, don't you have a best friend? Don't you have a best friend? You must have a best friend. Or a friend, many friends. I'm assuming you have many friends. Okay? You have a lot of friends. Can't you talk to the one you trust the most, the one you feel closest the most, the one who you know who can help you the most? Don't you think they can help you? People you could talk to? I'm gonna tell you this. About when was the year? I think it was 2018, maybe 2019, before COVID and all of that, like the summer of 2019. Yes, the summer of 2019, I believe it was. I traveled to visit my friend in school. After school, we literally chilled, we hanged out, we caught up on stuff, because we haven't seen each other in a while. And then we spent literally 3 hours, after his classes, of course, we spent like 3 hours just talking. He talked, I talked, we helped each other, we spilled stuff, we talked to each other, and we helped each other, and we were good afterwards. Like, we were, like, that, like, if you don't have that type of supportive friend, then you still have options, don't worry about that. But if you do have a friend like I just explained, a best friend who could always be there for you whenever you need it, then don't drink. And I'm gonna get to why you shouldn't drink, even though I'm kind of explaining it in some ways. But if you can have that best friend, then I'm not gonna say your problem is solved, but at least you could release yourself. You could release that pain, release that stress, release that depression, anxiety, whatever it has. What's the difference between your best friend and a therapist, other than like the professional degree they have and professionally helping you in a proper clinic? What's the difference? A therapist is someone you talk to, and they talk back to you and help you out. And your best friend is someone who actually knows you, as a matter of fact, who you talk to, and then they talk back to you. They talk back. What's the difference? Okay, there might be some fundamental differences, as a therapist might actually be able to help you by giving him maybe medications or tips, procedures to follow, and stuff like that. But a best friend wouldn't give you medications. And okay, if you did actually go to the Roman Atwood podcast and listen to the episode I told you about, you're going to listen to one thing one of the guys said on the podcast. He said that I was an ex-drug addict, or when he was a drug addict, I mean. He used to be recommended drugs over and over again. What's the point of taking drugs if you're just going to get addicted to it? Okay, and again, guys, I'm not a medical expert, but I'm just saying at some end of the extreme level where you can't do anything. If you actually have a disease or something, not a disease, like an issue genetically, genetic issues, disorders or whatever, and you actually need proper help, that's a different story. that's a different story. But I'm just saying, if you're fine on a medical basis and stuff like that, and you're just stressed or really worried or really upset or whatever, this is what I'm talking about. Because I'm gonna say 90% of the whole world goes through that. Yeah, 90%. Maybe I'm just making the statistics up, but the idea is many of us go through difficult times, and we don't necessarily have to drink. I've gone through, and I'm still going through difficult times myself. I have a lot of pressure on me, I have a lot of pressure on my university. I put pressure on myself to work harder. I put pressure on myself to become more athletic, work harder to make the team. Well, I am in the team, but to bring better quality to the team, work on my health, work on my YouTube, and so on and so forth. I don't drink. I find a way to let my mind go. And drinking is not the way to let your mind go. I don't mean actually drinking to actually let your mind go. I'm saying actually find something you enjoy where you can release. For example, right now, it's not the same when I was like a kid, because I don't have the space to do it. But when I was like, for example, in middle school, we had this football field, and every day after school I would have gone and played for hours and hours, even if I was alone. And when I used to be under like pressure and stuff like that, or I was nervous about stuff or really worried, the way I would have released it all was take my football, go to the field and shoot, kick the ball as hard as I can, shoot nice goals, make using techers and stuff. That used to be my way. Now my way today, it's mainly holding it in, even though it's a struggle, but it's holding it in because I don't necessarily have anything I can deploy it on. But I still don't drink. I could drink. I could right now go and drink something, but I don't, because I choose not to. It's all a decision. It's all, you have the options. You have the options to drink, smoke, or take drugs, or you have the option to find help, or you have the option to do what you do what you enjoy, do what relaxes you. If playing video games, for example, relaxes you, do that. If talking to people relaxes you, do that. If going for a walk helps you, go do that. If playing sports helps you, go do that. If making videos like myself, like doing YouTube videos, for example, go do that. Who said those are not better options than drinking, taking drugs, and smoking? Because I really don't understand why people do it. I really don't. Okay, it might seem stupid for me to say that, but I actually don't understand why people drink. Like, what's the point? You want to have fun? You want to go out with your friends and have fun? Don't drink. Why do you have to drink? Why do you have to drink? Can't you have fun without drinking? Like, you want to do crazy stuff with your friends that you wouldn't usually do, that you usually do while drinking? Don't drink and do them anyways. Who said you can't? But at least when you're actually doing those fun stuff, first of all, you remember. Second of all, you will actually have more fun because you'll remember it, and you're gonna be safer as well. Like, if you truly cannot find anything, like I actually wanted to mention this as one of the options. You can go to one of those what is it called, like meetings where you share your story, like where it's not like a therapist or a rehab. It's a place where you just go and talk with people who are going through maybe similar issues or different issues. I forgot what they call them, but if you go on like, for example, Google, and search up different ways, what can I do to avoid like drinking, for example, or something like that, you'll probably find it. And I actually want to tell you something, and this is extremely important, and I'm not messing with you. It's extremely important, and I really hope you listen to me, because I really wish and encourage you, and I want to motivate you to actually do what I'm telling you right now. I want you to do what I'm telling you to do exactly right now. And okay, I might not be a reliable person at this moment. I don't have my reputation to show. I'm just a stranger to like 99% of all of you. But when people say going through rehab is hard, and saying it's extremely difficult to stop taking drugs, to stop smoking, to stop drinking, to stop doing whatever, yeah, you know, there's something even harder. The harder thing is that to not start drinking, taking drugs, or smoking. That's the harder thing. Imagine a situation right now. Let's say you have either a bottle of alcohol or whatever. Yeah, you have a bottle of alcohol. Or you have a package of drugs, or you have a package or a device for smoking. Let's say you have one of these three on your desk right now. You have a desk. You have one of those three items on your desk, and you come and sit in front of your desk, and you're going through a lot. Let's say you're depressed, you have anxiety, you have a lot of pressure from school, you're failing your classes, you're struggling at work, whatever it might be, what would you do? I'll tell you what you would do. What you would do is take one of these three things. You know why? Because in your eyes, and in the social construct, and what the society has constructed for us, is that you have these three options. You could choose one of these three options, and when you start, you're gonna have that temporary relief, that temporary satisfaction, without accounting for the long-term effects. Like I told you about the nicotine. Remember the nicotine, where there is increased blood pressure affecting your heart, also mood disorders through by affecting your brain. You remember that? You have these three options. You choose one of them. Okay. You have that temporary satisfaction. You have that relief. What's next? Oh, okay, now I'm even worse. I'm drinking, I'm getting into fights with my friends, I'm getting fights with my family because I'm drinking or taking drugs. Because they have mood swings, they affect your mood, and you don't think about it. You literally do not think when you're drinking or taking drugs, for example. Less about smoking in this case, but the idea is drinking and taking drugs. Yeah. And you're affected, and then you're at a worse situation where you don't have anyone who's willing to help you because you're not acting and you're not letting them help you and stuff like that, blah blah blah. What are you gonna do? You wanna stop drinking, you wanna stop taking drugs. How are you gonna stop? You're addicted, you cannot stop. Now you have to go through rehab. Now you have to go through some process, some procedural thing for rehab. I don't know what that is, but you have to go through that. I have to go for weeks or months being sober, without anything in your system. You're gonna be craving, you're gonna go through painful days, painful hours and stuff like that. Is that really necessary? Do you really want to just go through that process? Do you really want to feel all that pain? From the second you take that first sip, from the second you consume that first drug, do you really want to? If you want to, then again, you have an issue and we need to fix it. But the hardest thing, and what I just explained to you about going through rehab and the difficulties, that's not even the hard part. You know why? Do you know what the hardest part is? I bet not many of you guys know what the hardest part is. If you guys know what the hardest part is, tell yourself out loud right now. Just say it out loud. Say, I think the hardest thing other than going through rehab is, and then say it. Let's see if you actually know, and drop it in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you have to say, because what I think the hardest thing is, other than beyond, not even other than, beyond rehab and being sober and all of that, is not starting. Like I told you, you have the three stuff in front of you. You have these two options. Ignore smoking for now. You have alcohol and you have drugs right in front of you. These are the two options that the society has put in front of you. Is that really the options you have? You have a third option. You have a third invisible option which you can't see. To not start. To not take it. Who said you have to take it? The society is forcing you to take it. They're saying, oh, if you don't drink, you're a loser. If you don't take your drugs, you're a loser. You're not cool. You're not this or that. Listen, you have that third option. Why not take that third option? To skip all that pain, all that dark times in your life. To skip over it. It's a shortcut. It's not the type of shortcut where you're not supposed to take. This is actually a good shortcut. Even though it's a harder shortcut, but it's a much better one. You have your alcohol and drugs. If you really want to defeat the demons inside of your head that's saying, take it, take it, take it. You need it. Trust me, you need it. It will help you so much. It will solve your problems. It won't. If you could fight these guys, these voices in your head saying you should take it, then take those, throw them in the bin, burn them. Well, actually don't burn them, because I think if you burn alcohol, it'll make a huge fire, but no, seriously. You think it's easy, and the way I'm saying it makes it sound easy, and I'm not saying it's easy, because again, I recently had this. I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm not really ashamed of saying it now. I'm not really ashamed of it, kind of not ashamed of it at all, because it's a learning process. So for the past year, I've been tutoring people at my university, quote unquote tutoring, wink wink in a way, where people who need their essays to be written, I'd write their essays for them, and I'd get paid for it, of course. By May, I believe, I found out that it's actually plagiarism for someone to have someone else to write their paper and they submit it for themselves. So now I haven't been working as a tutor for a while, and I didn't know it was plagiarism and all of that, and I found out. I made sure, and now I'm happy that I know, because I don't want to make the same mistake. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, I was actually able to make some good money. Sidebar. The camera, I made a video on saying my biggest investment. I bought my GoPro, my Hero 10 GoPro, for nearly $500-$600, including some accessories and stuff that were required. Do you think I could have got that any other way? No, I couldn't have got that any other way than tutoring people. I worked so hard. So imagine right now I have the chance to tutor people, tutor again, wink wink, tutor, write the essays for them, I get paid for it. Imagine I could still do it. Right now I can still do it. I know I know that it's a sin, first of all. It's cheating. It's disallowed, so I cannot do it. But I could choose to do it, but even though it's a sin and cheating, of course, I could still do it. Why not? It's still an option. Like, look at all that money I made. Look at all that money I made. Like, if I was able to make buy a camera even if it was my first time, this was my first time doing something like this, and I was still building a reputation. But now that I have my reputation, imagine making twice the amount I made in probably a shorter amount of time even, Imagine me having that thought in my head. I have that thought. I still do sometimes. I still have the thought. I'm like, I should probably go back. Like, how am I gonna get a job? I can't find any jobs. Like, I need to make some pocket money for myself. I need to start making something for myself, sooner or later I'm gonna have to stand on my own feet. What do you expect me to do? Like, you have to weigh the situation. Like, I can make so much money but do something bad, or not get the money and do something good. Like, it's and I know maybe you guys out there listening might be like, that's ridiculous. How can you even relate that to drinking and taking drugs? How can you even relate it to someone who's going through a stressful moment, who's having a really hard time, like an unimaginably hard time? Like, how can you even dare to compare that? But is it truly different? Think about it. Is it truly different? Let's just go to the very basics. Drinking, temporary satisfaction, whereas making money from tutoring, temporary money, whereas which is bad. Both of them are bad. Whereas not drinking, better, happier outcome. If you find when you find a way to deal with it, to deal with your issues without drinking and taking drugs, then it's a good thing, because you managed to avoid everything that could have gone wrong. And same thing for tutoring. Like, you just have to weigh them. And when I mentioned the shortcut, look, people tell you taking a shortcut is not a good thing. It's like taking the easy route, And if I can give an example, for example, let's say you want to get fit, and not even fit. You want to do you want to become a bodybuilder. The long term process is you actually going every single day to the gym and pushing yourself to your limits and beyond. Whereas the second way is taking steroids, taking drugs. What do you think is going to be more beneficial? Actually putting in the effort and having that pride at the outcome, or taking drugs in the short run, having that temporary satisfaction until somehow, someday, you're not comfortable with yourself, you actually feel sick, people find out and you're like a disgrace in their opinions, for example. Like, that's the type of shortcut I'm saying, where you shouldn't be taking a shortcut, where you should be taking the longer route. But in the scenario of drinking and taking drugs, taking the longer route is actually worse off, because if you're able to skip through all of that pain, all of that rehab, all that sober life, whatever, yeah, then you're always gonna have that, like, PTSD in a way, you know. You're never gonna really enjoy yourself anymore. Whereas if you actually never drink, you never take drugs, your body's clean. Your body, in a way, you're spiritually clean. On a spiritual level, you're like, you're pure in a way, you know. But as soon as you take that one sip of alcohol, or consume a bit of drugs, then your spirituality, your soul is dirty in a way, you know. You need, like, I don't know if it's making sense. I really do hope it's making sense, because this is actually extremely important, and people actually commit suicide, or eventually die through depression, anxiety, stress, and all of that, while trying to make alcohol and drugs their solutions. So I really do hope this is actually helping, and I just wanted to bring this idea upon you guys, and hopefully one day I can have someone who actually drinks or used to drink, who could talk for us. But until that day comes, I really do hope you guys listen to what I have said. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say, understand that I'm trying to help you, and that I care for every single person who is and is not watching this MadCast, you know. So it's the general idea is, take care of your body. Your body is the number one thing on this world. Don't take care of your body because it's a social thing, you know, where you need to be fit to fit in, or you need to be fit to impress someone, or you need to be fit because they're like that. No, do it. Take care of your body. Avoid drinking, avoid taking drugs, avoid smoking, because you want to take care of the blessed body God gave you, you know. Because by taking care of it, you're happy with what you have, and you're grateful for what you have, you know. And it's and this is actually a conversation that I hopefully want to get into one day, about our bodies, you know, and on a physical and spiritual level. And I hope one day I'm gonna get into it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this MadCast again. That's a voice crack. Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this MadCast. I hope I was able to help each and every single one of you, and I really hope that this one is as interesting as the previous ones. And you haven't checked out my previous MadCasts yet, there are 3 previous episodes. I'm just starting out with this. I feel like it's getting better and better, although solos are a bit not too nice, because obviously it's a bit nicer to have someone else talking with me and you guys listening in the conversation. But I still believe we're doing better, and I hope you guys truly enjoy this. I hope you share it with people who might benefit with this, and I hope to actually have some of you guys on this. If you're listening, I would not mind having you guys in. If you want to share a story, if you want to discuss something that could help others, discuss something extremely important, that's the true meaning of being able to make someone aware and connect with people, you know, take care of each other in a way. But yes, anyways, as I've said, please don't forget to check out my previous MadCast, and please do leave a like, share it with every single person you know, because I truly feel it's important for people to hear what I have to say. And please, I hope you guys do not mind to support my channel by subscribing. I'd really appreciate the support through some subscriptions as well, and build this channel, build my reputation to reach out to more people as well. And yes, I'll see you guys next week actually. I'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for that one. That one's gonna be a very special episode, I promise you. And yes, I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.